Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and ex-mayor of Blanco, Texas, to unveil Sookoto Declaration on Self-Determination on May 30th. The document, described as a statement of common cause, was co-drafted by Kanu and a former mayor of Blanco in Texas, U.S., Mike Arnold. The convicted leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, is set to release a new roadmap for self-determination titled the Sookoto Declaration. The document, described as a statement of common cause, was co-drafted by Kanu and a former mayor of Blanco in Texas, U.S., Mike Arnold. According to a statement issued on Thursday by Kanu's special counsel, Aloy Ejimako, the declaration is a call to individuals who value human rights and the principle of self-determination. The declaration is scheduled for a formal global release on May 30th, 2026 via Biafra Radio and other digital platforms. The date coincides with the annual Biafra Day typically observed by supporters of the movement. I have been authorized by him to announce that he has been working with Mazi Mike Arnold, and together they have drafted the Sookoto Declaration, a statement of common cause, a call to all who value human rights and self-determination, and a light for the path ahead, Ejimako stated. Promotional materials for the declaration, which was shared on Twitter by Ejimako's handle, feature a stern message on the acquisition of political influence. No one is coming to save us. Power never is given, it is built, it is taken. The choice of Sookoto in the title has generated significant interest among political observers as the IPOB leader remains in the Nigerian Correctional Service Custodial Center in Sookoto. Justice James Omotosho of the then Judge of the Federal High Court in Abuja in November 2025 convicted Kanu on terrorism-related charges and sentenced him to life imprisonment. The court held that Kanu's own broadcasts, videos, and public statements, as tendered by the prosecution, clearly showed that he identified himself as the leader of the indigenous peoples of Biafra and the Eastern Security Network, both of which were controversially and illegally designated as terrorist organizations by the federal government in 2017. Justice Omotosho took judicial notice of the Federal High Court order of September 20, 2017, issued in suit FHC ABJ CS 871/2017, which wrongly and illegally proscribed IPOB and its activities, as well as the corresponding publication in the Federal Republic of Nigeria Official Gazette No. 99, Volume 104.
The Gazette warned that any person claiming membership of IPOB from that date commits a terrorist act. The import of the Gazette is that from September 20, 2017, any person claiming to be a member of IPOB commits a terrorist offense, the judge said. The defendant, by his broadcasts of 11 May 2021 and 12 December 2020, professed to be the leader of IPOB and ESN. There is no evidence before this court showing otherwise. The prosecution presented multiple video broadcasts in which Kanu declared the formation of ESN, described its operations, and issued instructions to its members. In one broadcast, he stated that the group was set up to defend our land, while another clip showed ESN operatives in uniform waving the organization's flag. However, Justice Omotosho's conviction came despite a subsisting 2023 judgment of the Enugu State High Court, which nullified the proscription of IPOB as a terrorist organization. Kanu has since filed an appeal against the judgment that convicted him while he remained in Sookoto Correctional Center. The upcoming declaration is expected to provide fresh insight into the detained leader's current philosophy regarding the struggle for an independent state of Biafra and human rights advocacy within the Nigerian context. Stay tuned.
Proposing what is the way forward for Nigeria. And realistically, if I must tell you the truth, this is my stand for life. On Abure Accord, I stand. On the ideology of Ojukwu, I stand. On the initial ideology of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I stand, which is regionalism. And sincerely, I want this to get to the president. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I am begging you in the name of God. I am begging you in the name of God. Regionalize this country. You know more than I do. You have seen more than I have seen. And you quite know that there is no way forward politically in all aspects in regards the way forward to Nigeria's problem. You know all these things. I am begging you in the name of God. Use these last days you have, having the likes of them Akpabio that answers to your call in any means possible. Regionalize this country. That is my advocacy. But take it or leave it, whether you take it on this note or not. I pray that the atmosphere becomes so tense that at the end of the day, the ADC stand their ground. And at the end of the day, whether you are the president or not, you will see the need to sponsor or buy into the ideology of regionalizing this country. Sincerely speaking, I am telling you, and that is my advocacy. Because let's look at it. Regionalizing this country is going to address the fundamental problems that affect this nation. Sincerely speaking, what are the fundamental problems? The fundamental problems is a contradiction of different ideologies coming in play. And the fact is, you are equally going to save a lot of people the stress and this unnecessary rivalry between the Yoruba man, between the Hausa man, between the Igbo man, and between even the Niger Deltans and the Middle Beltans. You are going to save everybody the stress. In the sense that when you regionalize it, you don't need to tamper with the concept of the constitution that talks about Nigeria will remain one undivided entity. Yes, but the fact is that doesn't rule out the fact that the system under which the one Nigeria can be operated will not matter. It will remain one Nigeria, but the fact is the modus operandi will change. And that is the reality. You will save everybody the problem of a Yoruba man seeing a Hausa man as the problem, the Hausa man seeing an Igbo man as the problem. And you will save the lives of us the stress of coming to condemn somebody that is calling for placing a bounty on the head of somebody to unalive him because that is what his ideology believes in. That will be their problem. And in regards to this, now we begin to talk about the concept of national security. What will happen to national security? National security, simple fact is the fact that the national defense will remain, and it will only come in when things affects national security and is beyond the controls of this region. That is to say that, take it or leave it, the military is doing more of policing job as a result of the failure of some of these governors than the realistic and the constitutional mandates of them ensuring and protecting the sovereignty of the nation. So you can allow that to remain, and they can only be called upon only when it's perceived to be a situation where it's beyond the control of the region. And I'm telling you, this will even promote a situation of more patriotism among the citizens. More patriotism, because every person will want to protect his region. And apart from that, are we forgetting the fact that it's going to be a system based on the fact that let every other region, let every other motherfucking region works and contributes to the center. And what you get from the center is as a result of your contribution to the center. And that is the reality. Take it or leave it. I know gradually you are trying to establish some of these things. But the fact is, you have to take a grand stand. Take a grand stand in regards to this. You are the Jagaban. Take it or leave it. You have made your name and you are always going to remain in the history book of the Yorubas. In regards somebody, I don't want to take you in this regards of your technicalities or you not winning or whatever. That is the reality of the federation at the moment, and the situation is what has given birth to all these things. Allah, I am begging you, in the name of God, regionalize this person. Separate the corn from the chaff. And most importantly, let it be arrived on the basis of referendum. Referendum in the sense that North cannot go as North on its own. You have to bring out middle belt. Because when you bring out middle belt now, you are going to see the distinct difference between a middle belterner and a typical northerner. I am telling you, they are the worst victim in all these things you are seeing happening. Sincerely speaking, Allah, let's tell ourselves the truth. The middle belterners, the minority middle belterners are the worst victim in regards all these things happening. So I am begging you, whatever it is. But if my beg doesn't appeal to you, I believe a lot of conscious minds are waking up. And at the end of the day, we can't continue to remain as this. The fact is, we will be one Nigeria. But the fact is, everybody will now be accountable, will now find more patriotism in the fact that these are my people and this is what I need to do. And it's going to cut a lot of expenses in regards all this unnecessary politicking. At the end of the day, when you bring in person, you sabotage him, and you actually, at the end of the day, you push him as somebody not good. Tinubu, I am begging you, Allah, on Aburi Accord I stand, on Ojuku's mandate I stand, on Mazi Nnamdi Kanu I stand, and after this, even releasing Mazi Nnamdi Kanu actually means nothing, sincerely, if these issues are addressed, because there won't be any need for agitation. And I'm also hoping and begging that you consider the release of this man, because it's obvious that some animals in this country are bent on nothing but ensuring that, and believing even in the fact that this country in its entirety, the world entirely, is for them to conquer. Save yourself the stress, save lives. But at the end of the day, if you don't listen to my humble appeal, I pray that the situation get tense, and when it get tense, I know that you are also a Jagaban in all aspects. Take it or leave it. As far as I'm concerned, you are a military person in civilian clothes. And that is what I tag you. So I am begging you in the name of God, regionalize this country and address this madness. That is what a lot of other countries are actually also doing. And this is natural phenomena that is not exceptional to Nigerians. And what is the fear? The Odudua is actually strong on its own at the moment. So help other people that may be victim of this madness. So having said this in part 1 of my video, yes, what am I proposing? What is the way forward for Nigeria? And realistically, if I must tell you the truth, this is my stand for life.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen of the press, what I said and what my 2 colleagues have said can be summarized as follows. 1, recall that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's case was commenced almost over 9 years ago when he was first arrested in Lagos. Recall also that he was then charged with offenses relating to his broadcast on Radio Biafra from his location in London. You can imagine what it means for someone to be on an endless trial that never really happens for almost 10 years and being detained without conviction for 18 months, initially from 2015 to 2017, and again for over 3.5 years from 2021 to the present day. This alone is a gross injustice of its unique kind. 2, it's also to be recalled that after Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was freed on bail, Nigeria's army levied these lethal attacks against him that drove him into exile, involuntary exile, from which he was also renditioned in 2021. And recall the decision made in 2018 by the African Union that everything that has happened to the IPOB from 2017 to that very date, and of course much worse happened after. Recall that those things were declared illegal and unlawful and as having violated the African Charter at a continental scale. Now, also, the same action, in particular the proscription of IPOB in 2017, provoked or triggered the rush of litigation that eventually culminated in the ruling of the High Court of Enugu State, declaring that such actions by the federal government of Nigeria against Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and IPOB are unconstitutional. So the question to ask is this: why is it that the IPOB, being of Igbo stock, it is not us as legal team making allegations? We have rulings of the international community. In the same vein, we have rulings of municipal courts in Nigeria indicating that what is happening to IPOB is nothing more than an ethnic-driven persecution. 3, now having survived the lethal attacks and having survived this many years in enforced exile, and having undergone all these tribulations and travails, and having been renditioned, these actions, this very action of the federal government of renditioning Mazi Nnamdi Kanu triggered the international legal order. In July 2022, the United Nations Human Rights Council came down with a gavel that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was extraordinarily renditioned and that it was a violation of all canons of international law to which Nigeria is subject, and it recommended a generous compensation to be paid to him and cessation of his prosecution. That was ignored by the federal government. 4. It is noteworthy that on 29th June 2021, as indicated before, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arraigned. Well, you can say produced in court, albeit secretly, through the back door and presented before Honorable Justice Binta Morizala Nyako, who was aware that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had counsel of record. The prosecution was aware Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had counsel of record, not us, his former lawyers. And the DSS was aware of the information of his counsel of record. Everything was on file. Yet Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, or the court, conducted hearing over the head of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and remanded him to DSS custody without notice to his counsel, not to talk of presence of his counsel. This is a flagrant violation of Section 36 of the Nigerian Constitution. 5. When you fast forward to October 2022, when the Court of Appeal discharged Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, there was also a judgment issuing from the Federal High Court sitting in Umuahia, which had declared his rendition from Kenya as unconstitutional. It didn't stop there. It went as far as declaring his continued detention in Abuja as unconstitutional.